Change, my dear, and it seems not a moment too soon. Right then, this is gonna be fun. Welcome everyone to another 7 Minutes or Less episode at another moment too soon, where I probably should have been doing this for quite a while now, where I comment on certain episodes, but, you know, busyness prevails. Okay, so we're going to talk about the first episode of Doctor Who, Series 11, Episode 1, featuring the Doctor as the first newly regenerated woman in the history of Doctor Who, and, of course, the first episode and how it all holds up, because everything is pretty much brand new. Moffat stepped down, Capaldi stepped down, and now we've got Chibnall, Whitaker, a new episode. Let's get into this. So straight up from the bat here, we're going to talk about the episode, how Jodie Whitaker as a doctor, and just everything else shenanigans. We're looking at something that's a little bit different here. And a few disclaimers. I'm a Doctor Who fan. I love the show tremendously. It's something that I'd love to show my friends. Even if you weren't interested, I would love to show you, some of the great charms. But, I mean, not everyone's interested. And I understand that it's just it's a mythology-based type show that changes all the time, especially in character and everything. So it's like Game of Thrones without so much dying. But wait a second. In any case, I would say that I was not skeptical over the performance or the idea of a first female doctor, or, what could she do, Jodie Whitaker herself do. I only saw maybe one thing from her, and that was in Black Mirror. But, I mean, I didn't really know her acting chops, And so if I have any criticisms, it's not because she's just a female or I'm not going to give her a shot. It's not that. I understand that there is political sides to it. I'm not really all that interested in hearing that because that's not my forte. It's not something that I believe that should be entertained as a conversation unless you know what you're talking about. And unfortunately for me, I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to the political side of making a female doctor. I just go, you chose that, let me see what you got. Give me your best writing, give me your best performance, and we'll go from there. Now, to be honest with you, this is a totally different thing altogether from the show's previous incarnations, as well as episode treatment. The tone, the look, the feel, the overall pacing is different. If you are a new person coming into the show, you can definitely start here. The only reference they make is that she used to be a gray-haired Scotsman. And that's it. You don't really have to worry about something else being from another episode that meant this and then had that and then blah, 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 blah. No, you don't have to worry about that. Here, she just falls out of the sky after maybe a walloping 10 minutes of an absence from the Doctor. This 10 minutes didn't exactly help in this. And these are, I guess I'm starting with the negatives first. The pacing is a bit slow. And in this case, when we're introduced to our characters, trying to figure out what's going to happen next. It's just like you're looking at your watch like the 10 minutes has gone by and we're mostly chit-chatting with characters. That isn't the Doctor. Interesting. Not bad, but interesting. And I would say to its credit, with a moment that Jodie Whitaker falls out of the sky, quite literally in the title, I'm interested in seeing where this goes. I enjoy the fact that this is a show that's based off of change because Doctor Who has put me through an emotional roller coaster, but it's helped me with so many things. Overall, I would say that the episode itself has a lot of darker themes, but it does have still kind of like a lighthearted charm. However, the humor doesn't always quite work. It has its moments where you're like, huh, well, that's cool, but you're not busting a gut laughing. And this is kind of a doctor trying to come back into its own mold, especially since this is a radical change. I would say that I rather enjoy the characters for the most part. The Doctor still is growing on me, but let's face the facts here. I could say that about Jodie Whitaker and say she hasn't grown on me yet, not because she's a female doctor, but because all doctors had to grow on me at one point or another. Eccleston, Tennant, Smith, Capaldi. Smith was the hardest one for me to get used to. Capaldi was the easiest, but not necessarily the greatest stories. And I'd say maybe Tennant was the only one that had a little bit of everything, where it was like, nope, I immediately love you, and that story was pretty awesome. And Eccleston, I did have a hard time getting into, mostly because of the story's sake. So it's very wobbly, but at the same time, Jodie Whittaker has a lot of chances to prove herself, and she certainly did here. I would tell you, as far as in this episode, there's a moment where it has a lot to do with cranes, and the crane has to be moved from one point to another to save someone. There's a scene in there that made me go, okay, I like you, Jodie Whittaker. That was awesome. She does the best she can with the options that she has, and things don't always work out in her favor, and then sometimes it does. She's very tech savvy now, and she actually can make things, and they kind of work out. And I rather enjoyed that. But, I mean, in the end of the episode, there's a moment where it's like, uh-oh, how are they going to get out of this? So she's not perfect, and I like that. I don't want her to be perfect. The Doctor is never perfect. When she doesn't have a plan, I get to say she. When she doesn't have a plan and something happens, she calls that a part of the plan. That's the whole idea of the Doctor, is saving people and making it go down in style. And sadly, you lose people along the way. I would say that this was a nice treatment for the Doctor, being in this kind of story. I like the fact that we get different writing styles, and I'm interested to see where this goes. And to kind of wrap this up, I do understand that Jodie Whittaker only gets 10 episodes this season. I'd love to see her do more, but also these episodes are going to be a little bit longer, so it's more like an event. It's cinematic. So I would be interested to see how this all becomes. I would love to know your thoughts, guys. Let me know down below what you think of the 13th Doctor. Did you love her? Are you still warming up to her? Whatever the case, I'd love to know. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you could share this, like it, comment, of course, and subscribe, I would love your support. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, until next time.